feeling much better after my 4 surgeries on my leg. Actually hobbling around and roaming the streets and back to giving people a hard time, especially if they give me a hard time. I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist, and I've been in private practice for close to 30 years. I also have a second identity, and my second identity is that of an afterlife researcher investigating near-death experiences, after-death communication, departing visions, and any other form of afterlife communication. I'm also a medium, or as I like to say, a sensitive. A sensitive works better for me. I have sensitivities that can sense those in the next world, in the spirit world. And I feel that that is such an honor. And I truly enjoy being of service to those who wish to reach out to their loved ones on the other side. They don't change. They remain pretty much the same, but they do spiritually evolve. I was talking to a woman friend of mine, and actually, she has taken the place of Art Bell for the time being. Art Bell has a radio show called Midnight in the Desert, and her name is Heather Wade. And this show comes on 9 p.m. to 12 a.m. Pacific time, and you guys can figure it out for your time zone. But anyway, I'm going to be appearing on this show April 5th, right before my birthday. So anyway, we were talking about what would be happening on the show, and we started sharing about how there still is so much negativity out there for and toward anybody who investigates or who has made contact with the afterlife. And we talked about how sad that was and how there really needs to be some more education. And one of the words that we really discussed in depth was ridicule, and how there are a number of you out there who have had these experiences, and you have gone out and you have tried to share, and you have experienced ridicule from others. So I thought I'd make a little video about this. In one of my videos, I talked about a near-death experience that I had a couple of years ago, and about how initially I felt very confused about it, but very clear about it. And I felt very comfortable talking to my husband about it because he too has had a near-death experience. And then there are other friends, like-minded friends, that I talk to also about this. But I didn't feel comfortable putting it out there publicly until I had come to terms with it myself. Once I came to terms with it myself, then I had no problem making a video about it. But there are those of you out there who have maybe your people picker isn't quite good. Maybe you go to somebody and you want to tell them about some experience you've had, your near-death experience, or you wake up from a dream and you've had this powerful dream about making contact with your mother, and it was so real and it was unlike any other dream you've ever had, and you get the look. And the look is usually this. What? Really? What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you? Oh, that was just a dream. That was wishful thinking. And then you walk away feeling kind of, well, sad, mad, uncomfortable. Why did I do that? And you might shut down. Just shut down and not tell anybody about your experience. When 9/11 happened, as I've shared so many times, so many people had premonitions but they didn't share their premonitions. They didn't talk about what had happened. I shared with you about an incident in one of my books where right after 9/11, there was a crash in New Jersey. An airliner crashed. And I dreamed the whole incident. And I went searching for somebody who might have had a similar experience and found a wonderful guy in Canada who had actually had the exact experience I had had in a dream and had documented it. But most folks, I'm going to go ahead and bust you guys. Most of you don't go immediately searching for somebody who had an identical experience that you had. What you do is you kind of sit with it, and then you go share it with somebody that you think will understand. And then what happens is that they walk away and they ridicule you, and they leave you with the sense of being ridiculed. So we can do things differently now. What we can do now is we can develop that part of ourselves that kind of like takes the time to sense, is this the person I can share with? I want to talk about my near-death experience with my cousin. My cousin seems to be a little open to lots of different kinds of religion. And I even heard her talk one time about sensing her own father being in the room. Maybe that's somebody I can share with. So what you can do is you can start by saying, I remember hearing you say that you thought you sensed your father in the room. I've had experiences kind of like that, not exactly, but sort of. And your cousin will say, what was your experience? And you can say, someday I'll share it with you. I'm going to share the whole experience with you. But let's just say I had an experience that showed me that death isn't what we think it is. And then she might bug you a little bit more, and you can say to her, someday I'll be glad to share it with you. But I thought that what you said about your father was very interesting. Then the next time you meet with your relative, you can say to her, remember when I told you I had had an experience that told me that death wasn't what we think it is? Well, I do want to share something with you, but I do have a fear of being ridiculed. You don't have to understand it. I really would like to share it with you. You've always been very kind to me, but this is more about me. I'm the one who's nervous. And what that will do is that will ease your relative. Your relative will feel more at ease. They will know that this is something that you are grappling with. And so most likely they will go out of their way to not ridicule you. But do you see how that works? You find somebody, a friend, a family member, who has in the past talked about something that has to do with afterlife. I felt like my younger sister who passed away, I felt like she gave me information. She helped me out during this rough time, like she was really there. Or if a relative says something like, I've had my partner come to me in my dreams several times, and I don't really know what to make of that. These are all indications that your friend or family has had some sort of communication. And so these are potentially safe people for you. And your job is to not jump right into it, but kind of build a path, so that you can eventually discover, is this person someone who is really going to be safe, even if they don't understand? Is this somebody who maybe hasn't had this experience, but has read about it? Is this somebody who is interested in afterlife communication? Is this somebody who I am beginning to sense, sorry about that, will be okay? Is this somebody who will be okay? So, with that said, I want to share with you one other thing. When I was in the hospital, before I learned how to use the crutches, before I learned how to use the walker, before I learned how to get out of bed, I almost lost my leg. And thankfully, doctors were able to take care of my leg, and I've got it here. It's not behaving very well, but at least I have it. And during that time, when I was in so much pain, I remember crying out to my spirit friends. I don't like the word guides. I don't like the word. There are certain words I don't like, because those on the other side, who are my friends and family in the physical, are still my friends and family in spirit. They're the same. They have the same sense of humor. They have some of the same type of dress. They're basically the same. And those that come to me when I'm doing a reading are the same for those that receive the messages. And so I was crying out to Spirit, to those that I know love me. And I had that sense of them enveloping me. That was my sensitivity, part of my sensitivity, just feeling them all around me, especially at night when the pain was so bad. And then, of course, during the day, when I was visited by one spirit friend, and that spirit friend took my hand, and I was able to clairvoyantly sense that and feel that. What I'm saying to you is that you have spirit friends around you. And you wouldn't be watching this video if you weren't interested in the afterlife. And if you have had a powerful experience and you've made contact and you haven't talked to anybody about this, what you can do is you can sit and close your eyes and you can just ask your spirit friends, even if you can't feel them, just ask them to help you show the way. Ask them to guide you towards those people in your circle who might be willing to listen and who might have similar experiences and who might want to also share. That's what your task is after you turn off this video, or at least a couple of hours later. So anyway, tune in to Midnight in the Desert with my friend Heather Wade. Go ahead and look it up online. That'll be April the 5th, and I will be talking a lot more about the afterlife. Take care.